So in this video, we're going to look at solving equations with brackets. So where there's a single bracket, we've got two options. We can break the bracket, we can collect the like terms, and we can solve the equation. Or we can divide both sides by the number in front of the bracket and solve the equation. And the second method works really well if the number in front of your bracket happens to be a factor of the term on the right-hand side of your equation. However, we have to use option 1 if we have anything in the form 3 upon x minus 1 minus 2x equals 4, because we would have to collect our like terms, our x's together, before we could do our solving. So let's have a look at an example. The first one is to solve 3 upon x minus 4 equals 18. Now you can see that the number in front of the bracket happens to be a factor of 18. So, and remembering that when you're expanding a bracket, you're multiplying all the terms inside the bracket by the term outside. So this means 3 multiplied by x minus 4. So if we do the inverse process of multiply by 3, and we divide both sides by 3, we're going to be left with the x minus 4. And 18 divided by 3 is going to give us 6. Now, we're trying to isolate that x term, so we're going to do the inverse of subtract 4, which is add 4. So we're going to add 4 to both sides. And that gives us a solution of x equals 10. Now, we're going to check that that works by mentally substituting it into our equation. BODMAS says we have to do the bracket first. So 10 take away 4 is 6. And 6 times 3 is 18 on the left-hand side, which equals the 18 on the right-hand side. So our equation is balanced, and so our x equals 10 solution is valid. Now, let's look at solving this next one. We've got 2 upon 3x minus 8, and we're then taking away 3x, and that's going to equal 17. So this time we need to expand our bracket first. But we're only multiplying 2 times the terms inside the bracket. We're not multiplying 2 by the term that's outside the bracket. So 2 multiplied by 3x gives me 6x. And 2 multiplied by negative 8 is going to give me negative 16. And then I'm going to bring down that take away 3x, and that's all going to equal 17. Now I need to collect my like terms, so I've got 6x and I've got take away 3x because the sign has to go with the x term. And so 6x take away 3x leaves me with 3x, take away 16, and that's going to equal 17. Now I'm trying to isolate that x term, so I need to do the inverse process of take away 16, which is add 16. So I'm going to add 16 to both sides. And that leaves me with 3x equals 33. Now I'm still trying to isolate x. So I've got 3 multiplied by x. So the inverse of 3 multiplied by x is divide. So I'm going to do divide by 3 on both sides. And that leaves me with a solution of x equals 11. And I'm going to mentally check that works. 3 times 11 is 33, take away 8 is 25. 25 multiplied by 2 is 50. Then I'm going to take away 33, which leaves me with 17, and that equals my right-hand side, so my equation is balanced when x equals 11. The final example, we've got to solve 5 upon x plus 6, then we're going to take away 2, and that equals 5 plus 3 upon 3x plus 5. Now you can see in this one we've got brackets on both sides of our equation, so the first step is to expand those brackets. So we've got 5 upon x plus 6, so it's 5 times x is going to give us 5x, and 5 times positive 6 is going to give us plus 30, and then we're bringing down the takeaway 2. On the other side, we've got the 5, which isn't anything to do with the bracket first, and then we're going to add on 3 multiplied by 3x gives us 9x, and 3 multiplied by 5 gives us plus 15. Now we need to collect our like terms together. So we've got a plus 30 and a minus 2 to collect on the left-hand side, and we've got a 5 and a 15 on the right-hand side. So we're going to end up with 5x plus 28 equals, and we're going to bring the 9x first, plus 20. Now we need to collect our numbers on the right-hand side. So we're going to do the inverse of add 28. So that's take away 28. And so we're left with 5x equals 9x take away 8. Then we need to collect our variables onto the left-hand side. So we're going to do the inverse of plus 9x, which is take away 9x. So we're going to subtract 9x from both sides, and that leaves us with negative 4x equals negative 8. Now we're trying to isolate that x term. So we're going to do the inverse of multiply by negative 4 because it needs to be a positive x term in order to be a valid solution. So we're going to divide both sides by negative 4. And that gives us a final solution of x equals 2. And we're going to substitute that in to make sure our equation is balanced. So 2 plus 6 is 8, and 8 times 5 is 40, and 40 take away 2 is 38. So I'm just going to write that down here because we've got two sides. And we want to then do 5 plus 3 multiplied by 3x plus 5. So 3 times 2 is 6, and 6 plus 5 is 11. 11 times 3 is 33, plus 5 gives us 38. So this is balanced, so our x equals 2 is a valid solution for this equation.